Life Audio.
Well, you made it back for another episode. Thanks, man, for finding us on your podcast app.
Or whoever you are.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's all men? What do you think are...
I didn't say men.
You said, thanks, man.
Oh, well,
Making it back.
it's an expression. I say, what's up, dude, to my daughter sometimes.
That's true.
Like,
Does she call you bruh?
Yeah, sometimes. Really, bruh?
What do you think the dynamics are if we were to divide it up? Like, who is listening to the show? Do we have any data like that?
I don't think we have the dynamics of male versus female.
Huh.
Versus is a strong word. Sorry, guys.
That's true. I don't know why it's not battle of the
we're
sexes.
trying to pit you against each other.
Would we want to see it?
I don't know.
Because, I have it from my social media pages. Because it dials it in for you.
Well, what do
you think? If you were to guess, what is the average median block of ages for my fans, and what do you think the average gender?
Okay, I'm going to say...
Or the 70-30, 80-20, whatever
I'm
it
going
is.
to say it's 65-35 women.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to say women 30 to 35.
It is 70-30.
Women?
Women.
Uh-huh, close.
And it is... The biggest chunk of them are, 35 and up. So it really 40 to 60.
Okay.
It's like a job. For whatever reason.
I can't imagine why.
I mean, I don't know. It's weird, too, because I don't think of myself as an older person. So I'm like, he's middle-aged. I'm middle-aged.
That's you.
It's me.
Yeah.
So
it's you.
I'm grateful that they're listening. And they come to the shows, and they're very excited. And they all want photos.
Well, the good news is they can afford the ticket.
They're very sweet. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And they buy merch. Let me say that. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
And now Curry's behind the table. I will say, taking Curry out, because we talked last week about Curry feeling haggard on the road with me, which is true. And I feel bad for her sometimes. But I'm so glad she's there because she's such a big help. And also, people like buying a T-shirt from a cute girl. Because plus, I've made fun of her in the show, and they're like, bless your heart. What's it like being married to this clown?
Take this extra
Please.
tip. Yeah.
Exactly. We don't need change. Just you're in our prayers. And it's great.
Hey, you know what we don't have?
What's that?
We don't have any talk about that merch at your table.
That's right. We should get something because people are listening and that come to the shows now. They're like, oh, I listen to the podcast all the time.
Like a Bantertown shirt made up or something.
I don't know about a shirt. Shirts are risky because you got to buy all these different sizes of them.
But you're taking the risk. I'm okay with it.
Oh, right.
It's fine.
It needs to be like a pin or a button. So I did a show this weekend, 2 shows at a club, and the guy who opened for me, he's got a dry bar special. His name's Adam Bush. Well, Adam has these buttons that he sells, and they're like the metal kind, with a little in the back, the little safety pin thing in the back. Mm-hmm. And they got some of his little punchlines on them, and I'm like, this is genius. And he goes, yeah, I bought a button making machine. So as long as you know how to do, if you can print your own little...
I think we have one of those at our house.
You have a button making machine?
I bought one for Sadie when she was little for
Get
Christmas.
yourself out of here.
Yeah. If it's still there, do you want to borrow it?
Yeah, I do. Because what he does is he goes, it's a great staging area for a joke. He says, if you go, well, this would be fun. And he goes, then I'll move it to a T-shirt if the buttons are really moving.
Yeah.
I was like, this is perfect. So he goes, probably a quarter in each button maybe.
Wow.
In raw materials. But he goes, I just let people pay what they want. So sometimes people leave $1, sometimes people leave $20 and take a button. Huh. I'm like, I'm getting buttons.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So I think a talk about that button would be where I would start it. And then if it gets if you graduate to the level of T-shirt, I'll let you know.
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna take a...
Because, I don't know if I'm there. No.
I mean, I've only done 350 episodes.
It's not that, John. It's just... You're... How do I say this? Your appeal is limited.
Okay.
I'm kidding around. No, you're not.
My appeal is limited, Johnny, and I'm okay with that.
John, I did another podcast this weekend.
I know. I was very offended.
I was invited to be on a podcast with Yakov Smirnoff.
And when you told me, it's like one of your childhood heroes, right?
Yeah, he's just I grew up as such an 80s comedy nerd. And so these were my rock stars.
Yeah.
So if you did comedy in the 80s and I saw you on television and then I get to meet you, 30 years later, 40, that's amazing.
Yeah,
so what's
huge.
better than that? he was so kind, and he asked me all these questions about my childhood and, you know, making my mom laugh. He asked about, like, what was the first person when did you know you wanted to do this? And so we started talking about our moms, and it was just a really cool, like, heartfelt. So I don't know when that'll be released, but look for that podcast with Yakov Smirnoff. It's called The Comedy Couch. That's what he called. I was like, wow, I can't believe that wasn't taken.
Yeah.
The Comedy Couch.
Yeah.
We couldn't have. I was like, what about talk about that? He goes, I don't see it. I don't like. He didn't.
I found our first pilot, I don't think it was ever published, episode that we just tried to do a podcast from like 2016. We called it Hear Me Out.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that was already taken.
Probably. There's probably a few Hear Me Outs, which there's some talk about.
There's let's talk about that. But there is no talk about that.
Yeah.
We're the only ones.
And even if there is, you could be like, talk about that with John and Johnny.
Right.
Because you have the little sub, you know, there's always that thing of like Comedy Couch with John and John. Yakov, watch yourself.
Well, it might be a knockoff of the Yakov. Wait.
Knockoff Smirnoff. I will say this. I asked him like what I would consider an uncomfortable question because I just couldn't get out of my own head. And I was like, I wonder, I had no idea how he was going to react because I thought he could fly off the handle. Because we're just talking about his career in the Tonight Show because I wanted to know all that stuff. Because he was asking about me and I was like, let's talk about you for a second.
Yeah.
And I started kind of interviewing him because I was like, I remember all this stuff you're talking about. I remember you performing for Reagan and all of it. Tell me, what did they vet your material? Did you tell him everything you were going to say? So he starts telling me about it. And then I said, I got to ask you this question and I do not know how you're going to react. But when I was a kid, one of the specials I remember on HBO, I don't even know how I watched it because I don't know if we didn't have HBO, but somehow I watched the HBO special that Billy Crystal did. It was called Midnight Train to Moscow. I've referenced it on the pod before because he did like 5 minutes of material in Russian, and then he was speaking to an all Russian audience, and then he did a material. It was political in nature, but it was very. This is the Glasnost era. It's very perestroika, so it was very like let's unite. The summits had happened. Gorbachev. All this was happening. So the fall was right around the corner. If it hadn't already happened, it's probably 87, 88. So the fall of the wall's coming. And I said, all this happened, and I remember liking that a lot. But I also remember thinking, even as a kid that did not understand the industry of comedy, I thought, I wonder what Yakov Smirnoff thinks about this. And he goes, yeah. And then he kind of smiled. He didn't get, I thought, is he going to be like, actually, it was very painful because he ripped off he didn't. He was very congenial about it. He goes, well, he had family history. He had Russian relatives. So it's part of his ethnicity, part of his background. So it made sense for him to go back and do this thing. But it also was kind of like, yeah, you are kind of horning in on my thing. And it is a little of a strange feeling. And I go, it's like, you haven't monopolized being a Russian comic. And it wasn't like he was doing the I'm a fish out of water thing. Like Yakov's whole thing was, I'm in America and it's very disorienting, and let me tell you all the things about America that I noticed that you don't notice because you're enveloped in it. And that was his whole, it was beautiful. Yeah. And he kind of gave us that little like perspective on it. And Billy Crystal wasn't trying to do that, but it definitely was a little bit of a, hey, I like what you're doing, Yakov. Let me see if I can get in on this Russian thing. But it was a very kind of a pipe bomb kind of a question. Like, I do not know what we're live. I mean, we're not live, but I mean, I guess he could just edit it out if he had. I hate Billy Crystal, and you're like, oh no, what have I done?
I love that you pushed the envelope.
I could not. I just thought, as a fan of both of them, I want to know. I mean, I love Billy Crystal and I love Yakov. I want to know, like, did you guys have a beef over this? And
like, you could create a peace summit to unite them.
I think it needs to happen.
We'll come to a bridge and we'll meet in the middle. You know what I'm saying?
At long last.
Yeah, the blood feud can end. We'll bring down the wall of comedy. Mr. Smirnoff, tear down
that. I don't know. But that was pretty cool, and that was a fun experience.
That's great.
Yeah. But I say that to say that I've done other podcasts with comedians, and generally I do not like it as much as ours because there's a dynamic between us that I can't quite put my finger on. But if I was to put a phrase to it, it would be that you're very respectful about when to lay back, and you don't have this thing in you that needs to like top. Like comedians tend to want to top each other. Right. They don't mean to, but they just go, "Oh yeah, I worked there," and they go, "I was in Vegas then," and they have to tell their Vegas story. Yeah. They can't just listen to your. And for whatever reason, like you just let me go.
Well, I think it's. I think I know I'm not going to top it.
Yeah. No, it's not that. It's not even that.
Things,
It is, but it's also, I just think there's obviously it's 20-something.
Well, I want to hear what you have to say.
28 years of friendship, and there's a respect there, but I just have done, but I will say the Yakov one I liked a lot, and I am leaving this show to go do a podcast.
It's an interesting segue, setting it up that you like ours better.
I appreciate what you brought, and you've taught me what I need, and now that Yakov has given me that, we're done.
This sounds like my first agent.
I didn't know this about myself, and now that I've outgrown you,
right.
I wanted to talk about it.
Right. I think it's time. Yeah.
That's one of the more condescending things that's come out of like weaponized therapy talk in our culture is when you talk about outgrowing a person.
Yeah.
I feel like I've just kind of outgrown my friends.
Yeah.
And you go, please don't tell them that.
No.
Please don't ever use the words, I love you, but I feel like I've outgrown you. What a condescending, horrible thing to say to somebody.
Yeah.
I've grown and you've not, and
it's a hard balance. Again, there's relationships you need to end, there's relationships you need to put boundaries up, all those things. And then also there's relationships where you need to endure and grow together.
Yeah, and just because you don't hang out with somebody as much anymore doesn't mean you have to brand them a toxic person.
Right.
You can just go like, we don't have as much in common anymore. When I see them, it's cool, but you don't have to be like, there's got to be a reason behind this. They're toxic. Right. You know, well, stop it.
Yeah.
Everybody's not. There are toxic people, and many of them are listeners. Honestly, we
love our toxic listeners.
John, how would you support the show if you wanted to as a non-toxic listener?
You can go to talkaboutthatpodcast.com.
If you click on that upper right-hand link, John, you can find ads. No, you can find. If you click on the upper right-hand link, John, you can find ad-free content by supporting the show. Why would you go there to click on to get ads? Doesn't make any sense.
Because if you're not getting enough ads in your life, have we got the thing for you? The upper right-hand corner.
More just flashing at you. Wonderful, beautiful. John, if you want to send a note to the show, a little message of encouragement, or a proper scolding that we deserve.
We do.
From time to time. Lately, people have been noticing, and they'd love to point out when we make a historical mistake, an error. We say radar when we mean sonar. We say dearth when we mean,
something else.
Something else. They love that.
Yeah.
And I think there's something about that. And that's a weakness on their part because they need to point out our flaws to make themselves feel better. Yeah. No, we're glad. We're happy to get notes from you guys, and we love it. So hello at talkaboutthatpodcast.com to do that. And thanks to our supporters and our listeners. But John, it is time to hear from a few of our fine sponsors because we got to keep these lights on. Look at all these lights in this room.
First a lot of new lights.
Watch us on YouTube and you'll see we got lights everywhere now. Those aren't free, and we appreciate our sponsors. Let's hear from a couple of those.
And we're back. Johnny's about that time.
Oh.
That's my quote of the week. It's a segment we call They Talked About That.
Oh,
I did a little bend that time.
That one's not going
to... No,
I got a bad feeling about that one. We'll fix it in post.
I got to sing Sunday.
Is that right?
And
preach.
Sung and preached.
Normally that was like that you didn't like that. Because
it just happened. We'd moved some scheduling around, and one was already booked, and then some people were out of town. It just made sense to go ahead But I got to sing with Bethany, and that was fun.
Oh, it's like the best safety net too, because her harmonies are so great.
And I had Kiko on the drums, and he has the band leader mic.
Yeah.
And so there's one song I'd never led before, and during practices, dude, help me out, and he'd come in while he's playing drums and help me know the melody of the next line or whatever.
Really?
Oh, yeah, he was great. He was
when did the band leader mic thing off air start coming into churches? Like the people are in your ears going all right, second verse is coming up, John.
Yeah.
Don't miss this. Don't miss this. Oh, you blew it. All right, get back on beat. They can do that.
They really did.
And the people in the audience aren't hearing that.
No, exactly.
Has there ever been an instance in a church where
it got piped out?
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great. That's almost like taking your wireless mic to the bathroom with you.
Yeah,
that whole nightmare.
I did mess up the intro.
Oh, boy.
Because you do also have a cue in the track.
Yeah.
A lady's voice going, course, 2, 3, it tells you what's coming. And when you first get started, that little surge of adrenaline.
Yeah.
We're playing, and it sounds good. And it was a longer intro than I thought. And I started singing, but it said intro again. And I started singing, and then Kiko's like, not yet, not yet. I was like, oh, okay. And I backed out. I was like, all right, guys, now we're really ready. And that's kind of, and I think the rest of the time we were okay.
It's like when the porch leader goes, who wants to learn a brand new song this week? You were like, I'm going to learn a brand new song this week.
Right now.
I don't even know it. We'll all learn together.
it was fun.
Pick a melody and go with it.
You just got
Beautiful.
Go.
Well, you did it, and I heard great things about the service, John.
I know it's been.
There's a buzz.
That was a fly.
There was a buzz about that service. Anyway, John, quote of the week.
G.K. Chesterton. I mean, Johnny, he's always good for a good quote.
Amazing.
One
of my favorites, basically. I mean, C.S. Lewis, G.K. I find myself quoting G.K. as much as C.S. Lewis.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The true soldier fights not because he hates what is in front of him, but because he loves what is behind him.
When he wrote this, it probably was what? World War?
I don't know the date.
Do you think it would have had a war background and he was actually talking about it?
Well, yes.
You don't have to. I don't want you to.
There's always a war going on, but I just want to see G.K. Chesterton.
What his lifespan would have been when he possibly said this.
So we got a thing going here right now. So he was 1874 to 1936. So very possibly
could have been World War I
or II.
Yeah.
No, we're in II yet. Sorry, World War I or several British things happening in the middle of all that.
Yeah.
At any rate. So if you guys are watching online, we're doing some pretty cool stuff where I'm actually searching live on the big screen.
Oh, man. That's exactly what people want to see.
They love it. I think there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of co-opting in our language and our vernacular about fighting and soldiering. And I know some actual soldiers. And, of course, Chris is on staff here, and he's a veteran. And, the thing about it, and he's done a lot of amazing things, like amazing things, and multiple tours. There is a sense of, I never forget one time we were having a conversation before I hired him, I think. And I actually ask now when I do interview questions, some things that aren't politically charged, but they're to try to make sure that someone doesn't come in who's going to feel attacked or hyper offended, because we can be open here on our staff and just say, we can talk freely.
Right.
And so I'll be like, hey, if you heard this, and I'll just say something political.
Yeah.
Not from the stage, anything like that. If you just heard this from varied generations around our staff table, would that be offensive to you or whatever? If you heard someone did this and that. And I remember I asked him that question, and he said, it would not offend me because I fought so that people could have the right to say things like that, even if it were things I didn't agree with. Mm-hmm. And that to me is a true soldier. That's what Chesterton says. I mean, there's such a thing as a true soldier, and not just those who are saying, I'm fighting. And I'm not a soldier, right? I've never, I did not have the honor of serving. But I love that idea that what we fight for doesn't have to be because we hate something. Yeah. And that's a really hard line right now in our world.
Right.
I don't even think hate, there was a day, if we just said this 15 years ago, we'd have been like, well, I can't think of hardly anybody I really hate, right? If you ask people today, I think most of them would easily name someone. Yeah.
Before you could think about what you were for, you could almost always think of a list of what you were against or who you were against. You're imagining a people group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very reactionary. Like, again, if in political science, if you talk about revolutions, there's very levels of them, but a leftist-based revolution you would call a revolution. A right-based revolution you call reactionary-ism, meaning like there's different levels of how you come at it. One is by we're taking down a corrupt system. Another is by creating someone to be against that we all react to. Yeah. Right. That may not necessarily be at the top, but maybe someone at the bottom. In Hitler's case, the Jews or whomever, like you create someone at the bottom.
They're responsible for your lot in life.
Right. Versus someone at the top that we got to dethrone or whatever. And I think reactionaryism is dangerous because it finds what you are scared of. And I know we read a quote one time or my therapist actually talks about, like, when you find what makes you angry, then you find what you care about. That actually is a sign of something you care about. Yeah. If we can get you afraid or angry, and we're getting into your security center, we're getting to a place where these are what you value or what you value for yourself or for your family. And I love the idea that I want to be fighting for someone, not against someone, right? I want to be fighting for someone. And it's hard because to fight, you have to fight against someone. Yeah. So I think this is about a matter of the heart. Yeah. Jesus most certainly spoke against the Pharisees. But when a Pharisee came to him by night, he didn't turn him away, like Nicodemus. Like he wasn't, the fight wasn't against flesh and blood. It was against, the spirit of that age and the, again, co-opting of his father's kingdom for human gain and human approval. And while you're exploiting the widow, the orphan, the immigrant, the refugee, while you're trampling on the poor. I mean, that's where Jesus said, no, we're not going to do this. When he turned over the tables, and we'd love to talk about that as something, well, Jesus was powerful and he turned over tables. Like, one, I don't think it was very reactionary. And the reason is, you probably remember saying this in youth a lot. If you read that passage, the Bible says he fashioned the whip.
Yeah.
And so I used to joke with the kids that he was just sitting in a corner, like just weaving something together. And the disciples are like, what are you doing, Jesus? He's like, you'll see.
Yeah, making a whip. Like,
it wasn't like, he knew what he was doing, but his issue was you're cheating people. You're charging more than the law requires for things for people to come sacrifice to try to make themselves right with God. And this is what he wouldn't stand for that. It wasn't just like every time he saw any sort of anything, he went out and turned over a table. Like, it was a very specific thing for him that was corrupting the actual kingdom of God. But I think on the whole, then he was willing to let those same people kill him, and he was willing to forgive. So I think that love driving us to fight is a hard concept, but I think it all goes back to, we talked about that last week a little bit. It all goes back to, what kind of love is it? Is it earthly love? Yeah. Is it the kingdom love? And how do I evaluate it?
Right. Well, John, I'll just say, when I fight you, and it's coming, when I eventually fight you and attempt to vanquish you and successfully vanquish you.
Yeah, it won't be hard.
It won't be because of what's in front of me. It will be because I love what's behind me.
What's behind?
Well, right now it's just
a wall.
Just your door. but figuratively,
it won't be for that.
It'll be for things I love. It won't be because I hate you.
No.
You're just in my way.
Yeah. You were just trying to get to the buffet, and I was right there.
I love what's behind you, which is the buffet, and I got to get through you to get to it. John, let's do my segments. First one's Johnny's Old Jokes. We call it Joke About That. John, a police officer pulls over a semi-truck. He gets the usual license and registration, but hears strange noises coming from the trailer. So he decides to investigate. Inside, he finds 50 penguins. So this is a true story. Sir, why do you have 50 penguins in your truck? The officer asks the driver. Well, they're my friends, and we like to go on journeys together in my truck, the man replies. I'm sorry, sir, but you can't just own 50 penguins. I'm afraid you're going to have to take them to the zoo. The man agrees and drives off. The next day, the same cop pulls the truck over again, and once again, he hears strange noises in the trailer. He goes to check and finds the same 50 penguins. I thought I told you to take these penguins to the zoo yesterday, the cop angrily tells the driver. I did. They loved it. Today we're going to the beach. It's kind of a fun.
I like that.
Tell that one to Sadie. See what she thinks.
Yeah.
Okay, John, so we're going to have a little hybrid scenario because This Week in History is coming. But fast on its heels, I wanted to kind of set into it a prequel joke that leads into This Week in History. So we've never done it before.
Very sophisticated.
But I want to start with an old Mitch Hedberg joke.
Okay.
Mitch Hedberg, he's a Mount Rushmore kind of a comic. I know we only have 4 on Mount Rushmore technically, but Mitch Hedberg probably, if you think of one-liner comedians or people who do like absurdist comedy, Mitch Hedberg would be like, it'd be him, Stephen Wright, maybe Dimitri Martin, depending on your age. But Mitch Hedberg, incredible. Mitch Hedberg famously said, an escalator can never break. It can only become stairs. You should never see an escalator temporarily out of order sign. Just escalator temporarily stairs. Sorry for the convenience. And so, with that, we will lead now into This Week in History. We call it Talk About Then. John, this week, 1892, the first escalator is patented.
Man, that's early.
By American inventor Jesse Wilford Reno. The idea for his inclined elevator, this is air quotes I'm giving, was originally part of his proposal to build the underground New York City subway. The subway proposal was rejected But the inclined elevator caught on. It included a rubber-coated moving handrail, which that stayed, right? The handrail that goes a little faster than the steps somehow. You're like, here it goes. And a comb of projected fingers on the ends to help prevent feet from getting caught in the mechanism. Again, that's still a design element. So he nailed it, whatever he did. The first one was demonstrated at Coney Island, New York, and transported some 75,000 people during its 2-week stay there. So it was a mobile machine. And then it was moved to Manhattan, the Manhattan entrance of the Brooklyn Bridge.
Wow.
So that's a big hub. So it got to Coney Island.
Yeah.
75,000 people. All right, dry run. Nobody died. Nobody got sucked into the gears or whatever. Let's move it to the Brooklyn Bridge.
Were you afraid as a kid of getting sucked into the gears?
Always. And my mom's terrified of everything. She was one of those overprotective moms. So it was always like, kids, watch yourselves. Your pant cuff. It's always your shoestrings.
Yeah.
But there are it does happen. I mean, every now and then a shoestring gets pulled in, some kid's hair, whatever.
Oof.
Can happen.
Would hurt.
It would hurt.
We just pull it out, but it would hurt on the way.
Yeah, it's not your best day.
No.
John, speaking of not your best day, this week in 1661, the last person was hanged in Boston just for being a Quaker. Did you know this? That people were hanged for being Quakers?
Hanged the peaceful people?
When I think of being a Quaker, I don't think of we got to stop them. But this is where religious extremism comes in, because William Ledra was hanged this week, 1661, for returning to Boston after banishment for being a Quaker. At the time, it was a crime in Boston to be a Quaker. Quakers are a Christian religious group that believes God speaks directly to individuals and not just through the clergy. So here we go. Which was considered heresy to the Puritans. So the Puritans and the Quakers were like, no, sir.
Yeah.
They fought. They didn't just love what was behind them. They hated what was in front of them.
Come on now.
Back to your quote. As he was being prepared for the gallows, he said, "For bearing my testimony for the Lord against deceivers and the deceived, I am brought here to suffer." End quote. Punishments for being a Quaker included being branded with an H for heretic, boring through the tongue with a hot iron. I mean, these people, just for, oh my gosh, lashings, ears chopped off, and banishment. I would take banishment. I don't know why banishment was last.
Yeah, can I just choose banishment?
When you're building a list, and you got boring through your tongue with a hot iron, and then you go, or we could ask you to leave.
I would go banishment, then lashes.
Start with banishment. I'll take it.
Banishment for $20, Bob.
Good grief. Between 1659 and 1661, 2-year period, 4 Quakers were hanged in Boston and becoming known as the Boston Martyrs. King Charles II put an end to the executions in 1661, shortly after Ledra's hanging, so he was the last. Quakers
a little late there, Charles.
Yeah, come on, Charles. How about banishment as a policy? Quakers, also called the Religious Society of Friends, are a Christian religious group who generally are united in belief of the ability of each person to experientially access that of God in everyone. They are known for the refusal to participate in war, wearing of plain dress, like yourself, refusal to swear oaths, like yourself. I'll be there. I just left the house. That's John's oath.
Hey,
I'm on my way.
Who was at lunch first today?
I'm on my way. Yeah, are you, John?
I was.
You'll never be a Quaker. Opposition to slavery and teetotalism. So it's a balance. They're like, slavery's bad, so is booze, and we hold those each in equal disdain.
One of those I agree with.
Yeah. We know which one. John, finally, this week in 1894, I included this one because it's a friend of the show. Not a sponsor yet. Maybe they could be. It would be nice. This would be a big sponsor. The soft drink Coca-Cola is sold in bottles for the first time. The soft drink Coca-Cola was invented by John S. Pemberton in 1886, who called it, do you want to know what it was originally called? Coca-Cola?
I don't know, but a minute ago you said Coca-Cola like somebody, like our grandparents would say. Coca-Cola.
Soda pop. John, let me just say this.
It's not, is it a derivative of the name?
It is not even close.
Okay,
it is a terrible
Go for
name.
it then. Tonic?
Esteemed brain tonic and intellectual beverage.
Esteemed brain
First of all,
tonic.
none of that fits on a bottle. It's a it's a novel. Hey, can you get me an esteemed brain tonic and intellectual beverage real quick? They're like, you mean Coca-Cola? Yeah, whatever
they
you got.
EBT or whatever. Give me an EBT and a Coca-Cola.
EBT, I'd be.
It just rolls right off the tongue.
It's horrible.
I tell you.
And it's all in flowing cursive, probably.
But Coca-Cola had to sound weird, too, to them.
Right, a cola. Were there other colas that they had to be like, we're Coca-Cola?
Yeah, because it had cocaine.
Well, no, but I'm saying like,
it was from the Coca plant.
But I'm saying, were there other colas at the time? So they
cola,
just like, in the cola world, we're the Coca-Cola.
Yeah, actually,
because there was Pepsi-Cola.
Go watch Food That Built America.
Was Pepsi-Cola already around?
No.
Okay.
Don't think they were first. Go watch Food That Built America. There's all kinds of weird things that come out of those, like drugstore, apothecary kind of things at that time.
It's so weird because it's easy for us to think of it like we've evolved. Like they had brain tonics they were buying, which now we just drink as sodas. Like, but
it's all over Instagram right now.
But I'm saying it's still around. Like people are being like, if I say, for instance, I've stopped taking melatonin because it gives me headaches, and I realize it now that that's what's giving me headaches. And that's a certain percentage of people that take melatonin, they get headaches. And I realize now, I'll wake up with a headache like once a week, a horrible headache. It's the melatonin. So I've stopped taking it. And I'm like asking Curry, like, what should I take instead? I don't want to get on diphenhydramine because that could be bad for me too. And then she looked it up, and it's like a million, like all of the diffuser people, the essential oils people come out of the woodwork in these search results. Oh, it's magnesium. It's this. It's, cloves, and you got to drape garlic over your chest. Whatever. I don't know what you do. A salve that I have to.
Leeches.
It is. It's like we're in. Like it's easy to feel like we've come out of the dark ages, and there's no brain tonics. But then yet we do have like. It's just I don't think we're ever going to really graduate from that idea of like people want health, but they want also just like chug something to get it.
Yeah.
Like just give me a tonic.
Yeah.
Or I want to enjoy this soda, but it's easier to enjoy if I think I'm doing something good for myself. Mm-hmm. Like this isn't a Yoo-hoo, this is a chocolate tonic.
Well,
you got to shake it.
This is why I drink coffee, because they say people who drink coffee live longer.
Is that right?
Well, I wrote about it in the Ultimate Guide for the Avid Indoorsman.
Oh, a book plug from John. That's an award-winning...
It is an award-winning book.
How would someone acquire said book, John?
Probably just go to Amazon.
Is that the best way? Do you get paid?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, if you go to... Well, you can go to Amazon.com. JohnDriver.com.
The Ultimate Guide for the Avid Indoorsman.
I actually really stand by that book.
Well, I mean, why would you not?
It won gold at the American Book Fest for humor. Yeah, it was number one. Wow. 2020.
I won bronze and hadn't even written a book. They were just like, is anybody out here? Has anyone read a book?
This guy?
No. Yeah. That's a high.
I don't like to brag, Johnny, but and no one's ever heard of that.
Are the awards going to end up on this wall behind us?
You know what? I haven't figured out the awards yet.
The big trophy case of John? The shrine to yourself?
I think what I want to do, and this is weird because you're going to make fun of me on it, and so will Andrew.
That's part of the show.
So it'll mess with me because I don't want to be that guy. Also, like,
but I mean, it's not just to honor yourself. It's like these are my life experiences.
Well, that's really what I'm trying to make The Office about, my life experiences, and I'm trying to have less.
Well, in books you've collaborated on, it's easier to do it because you're the collaborator, so you're honoring the other person.
Well, I want a picture of me
equal measure.
Like I want Not So Black and White with me and Reggie in New York at the studios for Good Morning America. That's
can it be a black and white photo? Wouldn't that be a nice little play on the concept?
And then I want one of me and Mr. Haslam when he won a business book award for that for co-piloting. Yeah, and he's 93, 4 now. Amazing book, Tennessee history, all the things for Tennessee football history. And I want one with maybe with Pat Bradley for Born for Rescue. They do such amazing work. We support them to end sex trafficking in East Africa and also in the United States. I want to have a picture.
I think you do.
Tyler Trent. I mean, I got a great picture of me and him at the College Football Hall of Fame when he won the Disney Spirit Award.
Let me just say that I was that guy when I started my comedy career that I got the fast forward button hit for me by Tim Hawkins. He took me on the road. I was 4 years in. And so I never really did the whole thing of like, I'm going to take a bunch of photos with Tim on the road of the shows because I didn't want to, I almost was like, I'm not making any sudden movements.
Yeah.
I want to act like I've been here.
Yeah.
And it's one of my big regrets that I don't have a ton of photos from those shows of being on the bus with Tim and hanging out. Like I was afraid to so I dimmed my light for people a little bit.
Yeah.
That was a mistake. Rick Roberts, who's our dear friend of the show, he said the regret from his career of all those years on the road, being a road dog comic, he goes, I worked with every major comic that you can think of that now is he goes, we worked together and I don't have photos with them. And I wish I did.
You know what's crazy is I went to look for a picture of me and Tim because I went out with y'all some and I wrote his book with him and I can't find any. Not one.
It's a bummer.
But surely that time that you and I were on the bus together, for that what is it, 4-day tour or whatever.
We just wouldn't have thought like, hey, let's stop and we just were experiencing it.
Yeah.
We think we're better because we're not those people that stop and take photos. But you need one photo.
I just need one.
Take one
There's
photo.
There's got to be one out there.
Yeah.
Where are all your photos?
Oh, I don't know.
Like I'm saying, do you have a cache?
I guess they're in the cloud or.
Like you need to start searching.
Yeah, you're right.
You might find stuff that'll go on my wall.
Oh, can I make the wall?
Yeah, bring the right
I'll
thing.
send it over.
So,
okay,
yeah.
all right. Get your printer ink ready, buddy. Because
come on, man.
It's coming.
Yeah,
I don't know. Well,
you don't know.
I don't.
Is that the end of?
I think that's the end of this. Wait, hold on. Yep, that was it.
That was it.
Well, I will say this about Coca-Cola though. You're a Coke Zero person, and I think Coke Zero is awful.
It tastes just like Coke.
It doesn't at all. I need listeners to please send us a note if you agree with me. And it's not just because I'm addicted to Diet Coke. Diet Coke is better than Coke Zero.
I think I disagree with you and everything you stand for.
Now, my favorite diet drink is Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar because it tastes more like Dr. Pepper for real. Like it's very good.
Diet Coke tastes nothing like Coke.
No, but
Can you admit that?
Yes, but it has its own thing.
But you like its own thing.
And I like not having 150 calories per 8 ounces.
I can respect someone
because I'm going to drink a lot of them.
I can respect someone who likes something that's awful just because they like it. That's fine. If they know that it's different than the original.
Said by the guy who drinks like Topo Chico or whatever the heck mineral water you drink.
I like Topo Chico.
It's all bitter. Like water should not taste like anything. It tastes like ore.
That's how you get your water.
It tastes like iron ore. This is a tonic. This will put hair on your teeth. Stop it, John.
I like it.
Tonic water.
Give me some more platinum.
I'm only upset about it because tonic water killed my father.
Did it? Oh, that was. You know, I tell that joke so much, and people don't laugh. They don't know what to do.
It's fun. I like putting people on edge.
I almost ran into someone. I do it all the time. Ran into someone.
That's what killed Dad?
I said, killed my uncle.
Yeah.
Like I almost ran someone over, running back and forth. They were putting food out for Sunday morning. I was like, oop, I almost ran into you. That's what killed my uncle. They were just like,
Uncle's not as funny. I don't know why. Dad feels more personal. It feels like it's going to have trauma associated with it.
Yeah, it's
you might not even necessarily be close to your uncle.
Well, yeah. I think that's the point. I'm trying to distance myself from.
Yeah.
You start joking about your dad dying.
Well,
you got to be a real comedian to do that.
I think where it came from, honestly, that idea in my head, because I've been saying that for years. Something really random and strange would happen, and I go, "That's what killed my dad." And it's just something funny I would say. But I think that the root of that joke in my mind is from Naked Gun, when the guy, the villain, falls off the railing at the stadium.
Yes.
He lands, and then a steamroller steamrolls him, and then a marching band walks over the pancake body, and then Leslie Nielsen goes, "Oh, what a horrible way to die. My father died that way." It's just, I think that's where the kernel of, I thought that was so funny as a kid.
Yeah.
What a funny, I don't know. But Leslie Nielsen, rest in peace.
Was that the same movie where the steamroller's coming forever? He's like,
no, that's Austin Powers.
That's Austin Powers.
Yeah, well, what a great, I think Mike Myers has said that is his favorite visual of anything he's ever done. That's his favorite gag, which is, that's a great career. When you think about all the things Mike Myers has done, and he goes, this is the one where you're just, no, and the guy won't move, and the steamroller slowly rolls over.
It reminded me a little bit of the basketball video we did for the 3-on-3 tournament.
Yeah.
Where we had Andrew walk over this hill, and we had Staying Alive playing, just the music looped over and over again. And we had him we kept panning back to us and panning to him. He was always really, really, really far away.
Yeah. Right.
And then we did it 5 times.
That's Monty Python.
I know it is.
That's Holy Grail, yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's right up, and we kind of, he's right there. Yeah.
We revolutionized church videos for all time.
There's a lot.
There is a lot.
And I got to get with Jeffrey. I know he listens. So he helped me today with some things on hard drive. And Jeffrey, I do owe you money. I said I would pay you. But he's going to help me do the best job of pulling stills out of videos. Because I will tell you one that's going to go on the wall. It's going to be me on the scooter and you chasing the Big Mac. Oh, I got to have that picture.
Oh, yeah.
That's got to be there.
Oh, right. I remember that one.
That's...
We have so many stupid videos. Such fun. Well, don't we have fun here on the show?
Well, we sure do, Johnny. And you know what? Thank you guys for joining us in the fun. You should check out all the other episodes at talkaboutthatpodcast.com where you can find out about the journey that led us to where we are today. We usually suggest starting in the present and then working backwards. I think that's the best way to go.
But not in life.
No.
Stay in the present.
In life,
work towards a better future.
Right. Try to avoid the past.
Make your own podcast. Wait, that's not. Everybody's already doing that. Probably
they are.
Yeah.
They are.
I wonder how many podcasts we've inspired. Have you ever thought about that?
I know of at least one.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what someone said to me the other day? It was so funny. have a mutual.
Because people listen and go, I could do this crap. Like they're horrible. It's easy.
One of our mutual friends, he said he feels like this is how we all catch up. We don't get to see each other that much.
Right.
And he was like, but the problem is I'm talking to y'all, but you don't know what I'm saying. He's like, what I should do is I should start a podcast that's just a rebuttal of yours.
Oh, that'd be great.
And so then he listens to ours, we listen to his, and that's how we all
interact. It's like State of the Union, like where they always have now the Democratic response or whatever.
Right.
Like, everything he said was a lie. Now back to you.
Now back to you, Bob.
Yeah.
Till just the one note. Okay.
Yeah, just the one note.
Yeah. You should check out Jonnie W, JONNIEW.com for all the new tour dates that are coming up.
Yeah, come to live show. Live comedy is great. It's one of those things where if you watch a clip, I appreciate it and I get like half a nickel and I appreciate your views. But also come to a live show. I think you're going to find that comedy is so much better in the room. Yeah, and if you listen to the podcast or watch it on YouTube, come find Jonnie at the table and tell him. That always means a lot to us. Yes, it does. And people always are like, somebody said that they listen and their kids are in the car. This was the last weekend I just did. And they said, oh, listen. And so when I told them we were coming, this is the guys, we listen to their podcast. And they're like, which one is it? And he goes, it's the real tall one. That's how they describe me. I was like, okay, that could have gone a lot of ways. I did the ugly joke at the restaurant again today. Yeah, and the guy told me that too when I got there. He said, your buddy is here. He goes, are you Jonnie? I go, yeah. He goes, your buddy said that a real tall, ugly guy was going to be here and to bring him right to the table. Yeah. Did it hurt? It hurt. It hurt a little bit. I'm not feeling great about myself today, and so they seemed okay with it this time. Yeah. It wasn't like the Uncle Joe. They were like, "We'll play along. Fun, fun. We get to call." And then you walked in and like, "Who's got to play?" You gave him permission to call somebody ugly. Hey, listen, since you're there before me all the time. What if I'd flown off the handle? It'd be great if I just, you know what, I am sick of this. How dare you? I'm going to Longhorn. I don't have to do this. Yeah. I'm starting my own podcast. Talk about this. I spend thousands in here. That's the number one. That's a very American thing. You know how much money I spend in here? I used to hear that at Home Depot. I built my house in this place. I'm going to Lowe's. I go, sir, I make $6.50 an hour. Right, that's a lot. I don't know what for me to do. I do not know what to tell you. Thank you for building your house. Thank you for your service. I have rung up a lot of lumber for you, and I appreciate you, but this is not about that. I just need to see ID for your check. That's it. Yeah. It's always interesting when you're working, because I was a weed eater man for years. I mean, just filthy, dirty, covered in, just nasty. And when you come around someone's apartment or whatever, we did apartment buildings, right? They just, the way that manual laborers are treated, because I am a manual laborer. That was my whole life. Yeah. And it's always interesting. The little old ladies are usually really nice to me, most of them. Some would be kind of mean. But people, if they need you to get something inside their fence or whatever, like, hey, come here and get inside this fence. It's just like it's a real like, hey, technically I'm not supposed to do that, but sure, And how you treat people that can really like do nothing for you, and when nobody's watching, how you treat servicemen, like that is a big character thing for me. Yeah, it's a big. There's one guy that did a thing. He said like, the big one is, do you return the shopping cart to the corral? That's a big one. Or if you just like park it by your car and be like, okay, nobody's here, I gotta go. I do. Do you leave it? You don't. You park it? I take it back. You take it back to the corral. Even walk it back to the store. You know what I do? What do you do? I make Curry take it back to the corral. That's. I don't know what that says about my character. Chivalry. Well, all right, I'll take it. We'll take turns. Well, do you come pick her up then? Yeah. Okay. Well, sometimes. That was something. Unless it's not far away. If it's just right over there. Hey, you should have taken an umbrella. I'm gonna get the car warmed up. Chivalry. I love it. I love it. I don't know. Hey guys, we do love it that you listen as well every week. Let's do it again next week. Here on Talk About That.